Back at it again.
Welcome back, Adam. Good to see you again. Business coexists with the art and the skill and the talent.
Yep.
You know, one can't exist without the other, or else you're gonna suffer massively. I mean, you know, you need to do your own sort of research in social media and how to market your business.
But you need a presence. You need an online presence.
Yeah, communication. Set your boundaries, and that's why it's so important to have, you know, like a consultation to make sure you're both on the same page.
I often find within my own life that nearly every single problem I run into is literally fixed by communication.
People just think like, oh yeah, I'll just get a tattoo machine, a few inks, and you know,
that's you ready to pop.
It's like, whoa, you don't know the half. To do professionally, safely,
the price investment is huge.
Yeah, part two of the training academy, the tattoo.
I don't know how this will end up being cut together, but by the end of this, you're gonna have every selling point possible for this tattoo academy. And I tell you what, if I wasn't already doing something right now, I think I'd be in this academy. Because oh my goodness me, this sounds great.
Well, we see your portfolio.
Yeah, oh God, put it out the portfolio, don't even. So just to get back in, kick back with rolling on this, what are we thinking for tattoos that are going to take like really long sessions or even multi-day tattoos?
Yeah, again, it depends on the approach and depends on client skin and pain tolerance, your approach, like how you tattoo. Are you heavy-handed? What the tattoo style is? There's lots of different sort of approaches, you know. So like, if your tattoo includes outlines, start with the outline first. You know, see how you get on. Don't pour out the ink until you know that the client's happy enough to carry on. And even then, just pour out little amounts until, you know, the client's like, oh, I can't go on anymore, you know. Whereas like if it's say like a black and grey realism or something like that, then of course, you know, bloodlines, you know, and I would work like a, you know, like a printer almost, you know, starting at the bottom, working your way up.
Progressively moving up.
And then if they're like, you know, I'm starting to suffer here a wee bit, it's like, all right, then, you know, do the outline. But it depends on your approach as a tattoo artist, you know. It's like, you could just be hardcore and be like, right, you're sitting here until we get it done, you know, blah, blah. But we talk about the pros and cons to everything, you know. And, of course, like, if we get something for it, then they can always check back in, you know, be like, hey, I'm working on this tattoo. What do you think is the best approach here? And then I would just give them a call and talk their way through it, you know, just to make sure it fully understands.
Yeah, the ins and outs of it.
Yeah. Or like, I'll probably be there if they're renting the chair from us anyway. So it could just be like, hey, what do you think the best approach here is? You know,
you just get that additional advice, yeah. So out of interest, what's the longest session you've done for a tattoo?
Mine was 12 hours. Yeah.
Repeat 2 hours.
Yeah, 12
How the hell?
So obviously we had breaks in between.
Of course,
No, it's a big shout out to Thick as Thieves, Helen.
Hell yeah.
And Gary as well. That's actually their paintings here. Yeah, they're legends. They have a streetwear brand. Check them out.
Let's call it again, just so I can check it up myself.
Thick as Thieves.
Thick as Thieves.
Yeah, they're based in Lurgan. Streetwear brand, but
awesome.
They're graffiti artists that's their bread and butter. And they do some workshops and stuff like that. They definitely deserve more recognition, honestly.
You definitely recommend them, yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of visited the studio I was working in previously and, you know, kind of said hello and stuff like that. They came to one gallery night that we did back then, and that's some of the paintings that they had, and, you know, sort of purchased them. Yeah, no, they're great. And you know, I give them one of my like skateboards to tattoo, the one I used to longboard on.
Yes, is that up in the shop at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've seen that. That looks awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
So it was actually Helen. It was her own design that she'd done, and you know, back then it was still kind of like early on, so I didn't know my speed. I didn't know how long it was going to take. I made her fully aware of that, and she was happy enough. And it was her first tattoo.
Oh wow! And she went big or go home.
So we started on the line work. The line work alone took about 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. So I was like, "Are you sure you want to get started on the color?" She's like, "Yeah, let's do it." And you know, I'll maybe like pop this up, you know.
Because you'll have some images of this,
yeah. I still have images of it, so I'll include it in this. But yeah, we started on the colour, and then the colour took ages as well, maybe 4, 5, 6 hours as well. So obviously we had breaks in between here and there.
Yeah.
But see, by the end of it, we both kind of like just broke
Just
up
ready
a
to
wee
pass
bit.
out, yeah.
No, she didn't. She was a trooper.
She didn't. She was all
just
good.
more like such a release at the end of it, be like, it's over.
I can move.
But I can't believe she's out for that long. You know, like she is very, very strong.
Oh yeah, to do that kind of thing.
So no, like it worked out really good. I'm very happy. One of my favorite tattoos to this day. You know, it was her own design. Brilliant.
So cool.
She gave me like a wee print. It's actually at my station as well.
Oh really?
Yeah, up on the wall. Yeah, it's like a fox, outline fox, you know, and like, you know, lots of different sort of colours.
I gotta have a look next time I'm in then. Yeah, get a look at that.
It was awesome. But yeah, that one there was just incredible. But I told myself I wouldn't push somebody as hard as that ever again.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to sort of prove that I could do it. But other than that, you know,
So recommendation, you wouldn't say 12 hours for anyone getting into it?
No. Like most people generally can only withstand about 4 or 5 hours. You know, but I've seen you know, people like got to 4 or 5 hours and they're like, yeah, I'm still good,
pumped,
like,
ready to go.
A bit of numbing cream definitely helps, of course, you know, but everyone's pain tolerance is different.
Yeah, so there's no quite right answer to that. It's all going to be circumstantial with it.
Yeah. But we teach, you know, how to approach, you know, like a big tattoo, like from
Or a
stencil
multi-dye
to
project.
yeah, and so on, you know, so. Yeah,
I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, so that's great for it. Because I've never had a really large tattoo, but I would be interested in thinking about it. I don't know how many hours I could do. Not 12.
Yeah.
Definitively not 12.
No, it is difficult. Like, but you know, you kind of build it up as well. You know, so like start off small and you get used to it, and
Yeah, just go from there.
yeah.
Okay, so we've talked quite a bit at odds about all the things that you're going to learn in this, and then we touched briefly upon it, but I'd like to expand upon it a little bit more. So within the course, you're also teaching the fundamentals of running a business.
Business coexists with the art and the skill and the talent.
Yeah,
you know, one can't exist without the other, or else you're going to suffer massively. I mean, you know, because you still need to make a living from it. You know, it's a business at the end of the day.
You can't get away from it.
Yeah, and we teach everything sort of that involves with that. You know, customer service part and parcel to that. You know, it's having necessary documents in place. You know, health and safety.
Yeah, the legality.
But yeah, insurance. Everything builds around that. How to make it sort of profitable. You know, and you know, we kind of shine a light on some of the hidden costs. You know, the expenses you're sort of going to have, you know, and you need to charge accordingly, you know, and keep yourself protected as well, and how to grow your business as well, you know, through advertisement. Very briefly touch on that, because you know, social media is
huge.
Yeah, and such a rapidly grown and evolving thing. So like whatever I say, like the tips and tricks, you know, in that might not be.
Who knows if that even works?
By the time somebody's doing it, you know, it's like I don't even know if that works anymore, you know. So I just tell them, like, look, you know, you need to do your own sort of research in social media and how to market your business.
But you need a presence. You need an online presence.
Yeah, for sure. But I give them the basics, you know, like business cards, flyers, leaflets, T-shirts, the whole.
All the little things that you kind of picked up throughout your time, you know, that work, you know, definitively they're going to help.
Everything that I've done, you know, to date, you know, and just the basics, and it's up to them sort of to develop like a
what their version of that is.
Yeah, just kind of that mindset to grow that.
So you're giving them all the tools they will need to then go on and grow or start a business. But like, obviously, you can't say this is all going to work for you. You can only give your personal experiences what you know.
Exactly.
Which I think, again, worth its weight in gold.
Everything comes from experience, you know, like even apprenticeships, you know, everything comes from the mentor's experience as well, you know, so on. So,
That's good. So, I mean, that right there's just, I think it's another huge aspect of something you would never gain in a normal tattoo apprenticeship is that understanding of the business side of it. Because, you know, the tattoo artists, they're never going to be bringing a tattoo trainee in and thinking about them starting their own business.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like, that's never even a thought for them.
Yeah, because they want to try and like grow together, like you know, almost like a captain of the ship, you know, and like you got your crew, you know, that sort of thing. But if you're giving them blueprints to how you run things and, you know, accounts, insurances, giving them like a deeper insight how you did it, they're going to do the same thing. Probably
better, because they aren't running the same mistakes you did.
Potentially, yeah. But you know, I would rather give them sort of like the freedom of like the transparency, where it's like, hey, this is how we did it. You can do it too. If you don't want to do it, that's fine, because it is very hard. It's not for everyone. Some artists would rather just rent a chair. Yeah,
and like it's totally understandable why that is as well. I mean, just from me listening to you from the past episodes, in my head, I'm going, okay, that was a lot. That's a huge amount to put yourself under. And some people are going to be like you, where they are able to do that and they want to push themselves to do that. But you also give the option if they don't.
Exactly. It depends on the individual. Do they want the headache? You know, then go for it. You know, but if you would rather live like a happy, easy life, you're probably safer just renting a chair.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's totally fine too.
That's something you recommend just as much, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the best times I had was whenever I was working for somebody else. You know, because then I had the freedom.
Yeah, just to do whatever you wanted.
Yeah. Whereas like now, everything carries. You know, I carry everything
on your back.
Yeah, all the time. You know, it never disappears.
That's where the slouch came from.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So talking about some more things that they could learn from this, I imagine one of the things you talk about is probably dealing with like a bad customer or someone you have to refuse doing another job for, or even doing the initial art for. What kind of recommendations do you give for that sort of kind of stuff?
So how to handle...
Yeah, how do you handle like a customer who you're having to deny service to, for example?
It depends on the scenario. You know, now we talk about that, and it kind of falls into the category of the customer etiquette.
Yeah.
You know, how to like refuse work, but you know, as long as you're polite, you know, they're going to be fully, you know, they would fully understand, you know.
Yeah, because you can only, most of the time, you can only do as much as you can. You can only be nice about it.
You can try your best with it, but you will always get that one sort of client, you know, that's going to...
be problematic. That's going to cause issues for everyone.
Yeah. And like, you're going to get them, and there's nothing you can really do. It's just a matter of time before that sort of happens, and...
So I imagine more so than what is discussed is probably how to deal with it and how to mentally deal with that as well as an aspect of it.
It's a massive one actually, because like it depends on whether you're an empath or not. You know, like if you might like turn that on yourself, be like, yeah, maybe I am a terrible person.
Too strong, I'm a bad person. Yeah.
So you know, you might be kicking yourself, but you know, it's important to sort of like be gentle with yourself, you know, like understand that like, you know, their perspective might be different, and that's fine, you know.
Yeah, you just have to live with that.
Exactly. It's just like that moment in time, that's what happened. And it's like, right, what else can you do, you know? Just try and let go as much as you can, you know.
I mean, I think that's words to live by. Try to let go as much as you can.
And just try to simplify things. You know?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to overcomplicate things.
Because it just makes the entire circumstance harder, I imagine.
Exactly, yeah.
So then what about something between... How do I, as a very creative tattoo artist, how do I get over losing creative freedoms over what I'm drawing to what the client wants? Or kind of dealing with the fact that I want to be creative, but they want this very specific vision?
Communication. Set your boundaries, and that's why it's so important to have, you know, like a consultation to make sure you're both on the same page.
Yes.
Because the last thing you want is to do like a design and send it over to the client, and then they're like, oh, that's actually not what I had in mind, you know. But I've had situations like that, and you're like that. That's the thing with tattooing and like any artistry. You know, you're gonna have to put in work, you know, sometimes for free, and just
you just have to eat that.
Yeah, you just gonna have to deal with it. You know, it's just part and parcel with the work, you know. No, there were like tattoo artists in the past, and they got slated over like social media on that. Whereas like they went to some like guru, and then they were like, oh, this is how you can make more money from this. And they've implemented that, right? So they started charging for consultations. So the person came in for a consultation. It's like, okay, so I'll send you a design, and then you tell me, like if you want improvements, it'll cost this much. And then like after every like sort of revision, it'll be an additional sort of fee, and it gets added on. And it's like,
oh my God.
Right, okay. That's risky, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what sort of happened. You know, the person sent them over like a tattoo of this fox, and I told them they don't want flowers, and, you know, they just want the fox itself or whatever, you know. The person literally just half-assed the design. Now, it's understandable sometimes through like an artist perspective, where it's like, okay, everything's coming down on top of me. Like
I just need it quickly, yeah.
Yeah, my family's coming at me with this and that, and like I don't have time and this and that. So it's like, it's literally just like, I'm just going to do like a brief kind of rough design. I'm going to send it across, and just to let me know. Like,
get them an idea for it.
Yeah, if you like it or not. But, you know, if you don't, let me know what you don't like about it, and then I'll finish up with it, and then we'll go from there. You know, that's sometimes what I would do, you know, to send like extremely rough versions so that they're like, that's
like that, or I want to change a little bit, or
before like I start putting in like a couple of hours on it to try and like improve it and make it as good as possible, you know. But this person, you know, like sent it across with like flowers and stuff, and they were like, oh, I actually didn't want flowers, as I stated at the very beginning. It's like, oh, that's okay, but like if you want me to refine it,
that's gonna cost.
It's gonna cost an additional fee. It's like, wow, that's just money grabbing.
I mean, it's money grabbing, and it's pushing. I imagine that just pushes people away.
Oh, 100%. So it's like, wow, you really didn't put any effort into that. You charged.
Like you did put effort into it.
Yeah, like you were meant to, you know, but you didn't, and you know, it's just. Yeah, you would push clients away for that, you know.
So communication then is just the be all end all of kind of fixing the agreements, or as far as fixing arguments, not having arguments, being aware ahead of time. So communication with the client, I suppose, is something that you probably really focus on as a big importance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God, okay. I was going to say, I think that's just so good, because I often find within my own life that nearly every single problem I run into is literally fixed by communication.
Oh, yeah.
Better communication, more communication, you know, that kind of stuff, it fixes problems before they become problems.
Oh, yeah.
And manages expectations. That's a great one, because I imagine managing expectations on a client is just sometimes impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like someone comes in with an idea, and in their head they're thinking, whoa, it's so cool, and there's lines down here and shades up there.
Some people just come at you, it's like, I actually don't even have an idea. Can you send me a few over? And then you end up wasting so much time
trying to figure out what they want.
Finding all these like different ideas. You send them over, and it's like, I actually don't even like any of them. How about we do this instead? I send you a random idea that like, hey, this would have saved me a lot of time if you told me.
You started with that?
That idea. And I was like, I just want to see what you would come up with. You know, it's like, what?
That's so silly. I didn't even realize you could go to a tattoo artist without an idea already.
Oh man, it depends on how they work. You know, as I say, every artist is different.
It works differently. Yeah.
You can get some like really hardcore ones where it's like, this is it, and you know that's final. You know, this is how I work. You know, it's like, okay, that's cool. You know?
Some people are more laid back.
Sort of, like, fluid, depends
how
like I'm feeling on the day, but like everything's still kind of like structured. You know, and I just try and find like the best way forward to make a tattoo happen for that person, you know.
In my own mind, I just couldn't imagine going to a tattoo artist and being like, I want a tattoo. What should I get? You know, and asking you the question, that just seems so strange to me.
It just, like I had a woman earlier actually who came in for wants a cover up, you know, and she doesn't know what she wants. And I was like, okay, well, how about this? How about the best way forward here that I think is maybe setting a price estimate on this, and like the size.
Yeah, how much are you willing to spend here? Then we can work it out.
We'll book you in, and then I'll send a few ideas over, and you just let me know. And between now and then, if you think of a few ideas, send them through, and then I'll consider.
And that helps you even more for it then.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's a price estimate, and then I can find something to suit.
Yeah, within those estimates. Yeah. That's fantastic. That's great. I really love that. That's the perfect way it should be done. And I think for a cover-up, actually, it does make more sense if you speak to the artist beforehand.
Oh, yeah, because you don't really know how to even approach that, you know, which is fair enough, like, you know.
Because, I'd have no idea about how to cover something up effectively, but I'm sure you could look at something and after a bit of back and forth, we could come to something about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So managing expectations, then that's just again another.
That's actually title of one of our PowerPoints.
Is managing expectations? So that's well covered. Yeah. So more communication. Communication is key. It is the king of all. I imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well. Okay. So a couple of easy ones then. How do you recognize if there's if someone's having an allergic reaction or if they're having a bad time with what's going on at the moment? Is there tells in there? Is there something you can give?
Well, again, communication. You would kind of check in on the client. So during the tattoo, it's like, how you feeling? You feeling okay?
Too sore?
Yeah, and it's important not to ask that too repetitively because the person gets annoyed after a while, where it's like, look, I'm fine, just carry on doing what you're doing. But it's just general conversation. And that's why I feel that it's really important to speak to your client, because like if you feel that they've been like really talkative during the whole session and then suddenly just
it starts to back off,
that's when you know that it's like, okay, they're finding it a wee bit more painful. Or like say it goes the opposite way where they're like nervous, they're not talking, and then tattoo starts and then they start talking more and more as the session progresses, then that means that talking is helping them throughout the pain.
How to deal with it.
So you can learn and register like what's kind of going on by reading the room, reading the conversation. That's why I say studying a bit of psychology is actually really useful. Because you're dealing with people and you're dealing with people for
being able to read them and being able to understand them. It's just so important. It almost, again, something I never really put thought into beforehand is just how much of a people's job role it is to be a tattoo artist. I mean, really, it's probably one of the ones that you are going to be talking to the most people for.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like as long as you're doing a good job, they'll be recommending you to their friends and family and so on. And I've tattooed families, literally like mom, dad, brothers, sisters,
really,
like everyone.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I ended up becoming like part of the family.
Yeah, the family tattoo artist.
Like it's pretty mad actually, but I'm honored to be in that sort of position.
Absolutely.
And I feel that like every artist needs to have that sort of perspective, coming out the industry. Where it's like, I'm just honored to be here. Being part of the journey and
part of all these people's lives.
Exactly, yeah, because you're making a big difference.
Oh, God,
whether you like it or admit it or not, like a tattoo makes a big difference to someone's life.
Yeah, and we talked about that, of course, in how meaningful tattoos can be for people and how they can use as escapism or to get over losses or to celebrate wins. And you get to be an instrumental part of that. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah. Now here's the thing with like social media. People love to see that. People want to, like, people thrive on that. And the people thrive on drama and want to hear those things. But the dilemma you sort of face with that, where it's like, okay, am I exploiting these people's stories and experiences for my own,
for your own clout
and gain, but then like everyone else is like doing it as well, and more artists are starting to do that, and then they're climbing up through the ranks and getting busier because of that and so on. So it's like,
what's the correct way to go about that?
Like, what do you do? And then like my fear is that like word of mouth is only going to carry me for so long before my clientele kind of drop off, and then I'm kind of stuck. Like, I wish I did this, like the fear of missing out. It's just a psychological thing, it's like innate with us. If somebody else is doing it, if like enough people are doing it, you're going to have to do something. You
have to jump on board with it or you get left behind.
Yeah, so then it's like, okay, but am I like subscribing to the right philosophy, and then you're considering, should I be even tattooing in the first
morally
place?
Am I in the right place for this?
So then you're like, okay, you're battling all these thoughts where it's like, should I do this, should I do not, blah blah. So
there's never an easy answer.
And then it's like, maybe I should just like go for a 9-to-5 job.
It certainly is a lot less to think about.
More simple way of life, I
don't think you could live that simple life, Alexi.
No.
I think you're too expressive, you're too artistic, you're too different.
See, like I would find a way of like, hey, do you mind if I like change some things?
Make this more my style.
It's always been kind of like, I want to make this my own. It's always been a thing with me, where it's like, if I'm going to do something, I want to make it my own, and like be my own boss, that sort of thing. And it's like, but everyone's
different.
Yeah.
So hey, look, we're coming close to the end. So let's do two questions near the end here that might help people who are just trying to get into it, right?
Sure.
So one thing I saw, and again, I'm not a part of the industry, so I'm not so sure about it. What do you think someone getting into it, a trainee, what do you think their initial toolbox should look like? Their starting kit, if it were, you know what I mean?
Well, as I say, like anyone doing the training, they're going to have like the blueprints to everything that they need to sort of get started.
Yeah.
So, first of all, you need to find out like where are you starting off in? Are you renting a chair with AMAVI? Are you renting a chair from another studio? Because then I don't know how.
Yeah, that's a whole different level.
I don't know what way their chair rental is going to be. I don't know what equipment they're going to supply. So you need to find that out first of all. And then you need to properly sit down and go through the checklist and be like, right, I need this, I need that.
Yeah, because you include a list of all the equipment that is necessary, don't you? I mean, that right there is fantastic.
So for like a full-on professional setup, now depending on location, depending on like delivery costs and shipping and stuff like that, it could range anywhere between 6,000 to 10,000.
My God, that is a heavy investment for someone.
People just think like, oh yeah, I'll just get a tattoo machine, a few inks, and
that's you ready to pop.
Like, whoa, you don't know the half. To do professionally, safely.
The price investment is huge.
Yeah, and that, as just said, and then the council as well might take a fee as well for the call out, to have a look and inspect everything.
Just the costs are insane.
Yeah, and it's just growing, like just like inflation. Like the cost of everything is just continuously like increasing. So
starter kit included within the training, but circumstantially different for everyone and everywhere.
No, like right off the bat, like I can list off like a lot of different sort of things. It'll range from like your basics, like the tattoo machine, to your ink caps, to your inks, to the ointment that you're using throughout it. We recommend Green Glide, but every artist
has a different.
And then you need cling film, of course, a lot of it. And we like to use a black roll just to add a bit of variety to
Absolutely.
it. Couch roll to make it look more professional and protect your chair. You need disinfectant.
Bite
you
marks.
need distiller, to distill your water. And you need a water bottle. You need a spray bottle. You need.
So hypothetically, if someone wants to start your training course, what do you think they should have ready to go?
Just a
happy-go-lucky
attitude. Yeah, until you do it, and then throughout the course,
will they need their own tattoo machine? I mean, good to have, but will they need it?
It'll be good to have. They don't need it.
Do you provide?
No. Simply because every machine is different.
It's specialized.
I will help them decide what's the right machinery to go with. Because like everyone likes different things.
Yeah.
Everyone tries something.
And maybe within the training course they could test a couple and get an idea of what they might like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
like
really
once I
helpful.
teach them, everything there is to know about like machines, they can then go ahead and decide.
Make an informed decision.
Yeah, and then they can speak with me as well. It's like, right, I'm struggling between these two machines. I like this one, but I like this one. I'll explain to them. It's like, well, it'll be better.
This is different for that. That's different for this.
Yeah. And then I'll just trying to help them sort of like decide on that. But it is ultimately their decision and what approach they want.
And it's going to be very personal to them.
Yeah, and I feel that it's not fair for me to make that decision for them. It's like I feel that like it's such a personal thing.
It's part of their journey.
Yeah, they need to decide that themselves. So it's not part of included in the course. Plus, like if we supply that, then we have to ramp up the price
dramatically.
Yeah, which means that it deters like more and more people away from doing it.
And the assumption is probably most people starting this course probably have already purchased a tattoo machine in some capacity.
We actually don't advise that at all.
Really?
Yeah. If somebody says on their initial assessment that they have a tattoo machine, they've been practicing from home, it's like you might think that's good. You're learning bad habits.
Yeah.
You're learning like a poor etiquette, like setup, and yeah, it's just not good at all. And like if they say like, oh, we've been practicing like on people already,
is that instant?
Those are all kind of like red flags, Now I might like schedule a wee like meeting with them
just to see what it's like.
Yeah, being like discuss their like attitude towards it, and of course like portfolio as well. Check that everything, to sort of make that decision.
Well, that's
as informed as it can.
That's kind of what I wanted. That was my last question I wanted to finish on. I thought it'd be a really good one for the end of it. How does one document and show off their portfolio?
Okay, yeah. So at the beginning, it's you might not be comfortable showing off the kind of like setup because you're so focused on trying to do a good job with the setup and consider like everything that we've kind of taught them. So it would solely consist of like portfolio work only. I would highly suggest multiple different photos, like maybe up to 20, 30, 40 photos of one tattoo that you did.
Of one tattoo?
Yeah, of lots of different angles to then pick and choose your favorite sort of photo from that. I would also consider video, like of the tattoo, and then create multiple reels from that, multiple different angles of photos. And then once you feel way more comfortable, document the whole journey of like the setup, the cleanup, and so on. Then it kind of helps you kind of grow your content, for social media.
Yeah.
And just like show them to customers as well.
And obviously good because they'll have to show a portfolio for this training academy.
Oh, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the actual
professional portfolio.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No.
I'm trying to get into the mind frame of someone who wants to get into this.
Yeah. Well, let me finish up with the professional portfolio. You essentially want to start documenting your whole journey, the entire way from the start.
Really, from the get-go.
Yeah, as much as you can, because it'll be really good for content and to sort of nurture your audience into finding out who you are as a person and so on. That's something I neglected, because like I kind of struggled with like...
Probably didn't like your initial artwork.
It wasn't even that, man. It was more just self-consciousness. I didn't want to show my personality. I didn't want to show off like, my setup and stuff like that, because like, back then it was actually fairly easy because there wasn't a whole lot of like tattoo artists.
Yeah.
So like portfolio photo is all you can really do, an occasional like holiday photo or something, whereas like now it's slightly different. People choose based on personality whether they like you or not, and of course portfolio as well. So yeah, document the whole journey is like so important, and the kind of step-by-step process of what you're doing in each sort of tattoo. That's something I'm trying to get used to myself, but still
You're stuck in the old ways?
Yeah, I feel I'm getting a wee bit old for that, man.
Yeah, you're an old dog and notoriously hard to learn a new trick.
Yeah. So, but it takes so much time, to sort of like learn and adapt to it. But I'm sure that like it's like any other skill. Once I get used to it, it'll be
eventually it's second nature to you.
Yeah, but when it comes to actually building a tattoo
from the get-go,
so like your drawings and
what are you looking for someone coming into this course?
Adaptability. But with that, you need to test their sort of personality as well. It's like, right, are you looking to be like the one style, like draw and tattoo exactly how you draw, that sort of thing, or are you looking for like just being in the industry like myself, that loves to do
a little bit of everything,
and just in it for the love of it. So you just need to like decide on that, and I think the portfolio will be a clear giveaway on that.
Yeah.
Because like if somebody comes in and it's like, right, here are all my experimentations. Here's like here's my line art, here's my oil paintings and so on. Here's my like black pencil work, and then here's my charcoal. Here's my like color,
just all
work,
the different ones. Yeah.
Acrylic work, my paper mache.
I was gonna say
everything.
This is a pot I made in my clay.
Yeah. Then it's like, whoa, okay, so yeah, you're just going in it for the love of it. I can tell you're not really going to.
That comes across in the portfolio.
But that might change. Once you start tattooing, maybe you'll find your groove, and you might find that you really enjoy these styles.
One specific type, yeah.
Yeah, and then you stick to like those kind of like techniques, which will build your style.
Actual portfolio up. Yeah. So like I'm seeing it.
Yeah, like the tattooing. Whereas if somebody comes in and it's like, hey, this is how I draw, like and like it's all very consistently the same, just slightly different kind of subject matter, then that's a different story. They're probably going to tattoo exactly like that, and then would make them fully aware of that. It was like, hey, because you do that the specific way, you might start tattooing that specific way. But we'll also tell them if it's not translating well,
then it's not going to work. Yeah,
and then maybe like, hey, improve on this, build on that, instead, and see how you get on with that.
Okay, well, I mean, that's fantastic. So, do you think the initial portfolio, it should try and show personality like the professional one does?
That's why we have the initial assessment. Because then it helps us understand them and why they're doing it, where they see themselves going and so on. Then that kind of comes with it. You know?
Comes in time.
Yeah, and then just like maybe it was scheduled a wee meeting, sort of meet them in person, you know, so they'll feel a way more comfortable with you.
Yeah.
And that's cool too, you know. So yeah. And then of course digital art, you know, like that's really important nowadays too, because
Really?
yeah, like all my like art is digital, you know.
Of course, yeah. You don't actually draw anything anymore.
Yeah, because it's so much faster, you know. Like back in the day, like whenever I was starting out, everything was still pen and paper.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You know, pencil, paper, and so on, you know. So you still have to like draw things by hand, and then it's like, right, okay. And then we would use a photocopier to scale that, you know, where it's like that needs to be bigger. Oh crap, you know. You photocopy it and then you print it off, and it's like, you know, you cut it out and you're like, all right, yeah, it needs to be bigger or smaller, you know. And you would work with photocopier.
Yeah.
You know? So that kind of eliminated that step, you know,
Which is nice, yeah.
Yeah, you're literally looking at your iPad or tablet or whatever, and then you're like, right, this is the size of A4 page or something. Like basically the size you see on the screen is the size it's going to be once I print it off. You know, so then you can gauge that and you print it, and it's like,
and you can adjust what you need there and then. Yeah.
And then the only difference then is like back in the day, you would then from the photocopier take that, and then you went to the drawing desk, you know, and then you would put that in the spirit paper, you know, the stencils.
Yeah.
And then you start drawing over it by hand, which took forever, and the client's sitting there like
just
bored.
waiting for it.
Yeah, and then you go to apply stencil, and then you mess it up.
Oh, don't even.
And then you're like, oh, it's so destroying, you know. And then you're like, I'll have to go back and redo this whole.
So the digitization really did improve that dramatically.
Yeah. So again, it just goes back to the point with like, you know, different artists arguing different points that I feel is a little invalid, because it's like, oh, you need to learn the traditional method of doing things. It's like,
that's cool. But
like we respect it, you know, we understand it, and it's the art behind it. And yeah, I feel that like everyone should give that a go regardless, because it builds muscle memory.
Absolutely.
Before they head into a tattoo. But it's a little obsolete nowadays, because like that machinery that we have, you know, just plug
literally
it in,
cuts it out completely.
It off, saves so much time. It's like, okay, you know, like why would you like waste 2 hours doing that thing when you know confidently that you can do that?
You have a machine that does that the same or better.
Exactly, yeah. It's
so
like,
do you believe then digital artwork is also a pretty important part of a portfolio then?
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, big part of it. So that's going to be a really good one to get out there.
Yeah. I would recommend everyone sort of like give that a go and try and get used to it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But I would say try and carry like the traditional methods as well with that, you know, because
still show them their respects.
Yeah, that's one of my regrets, you know, where it's like I wish I stuck at it, you know, like more like pencil designs, more paintings and so on, you know, sort of went like still built myself on that, you know, but I was like naturally just gravitating towards like realism for some reason, you know, like I've done this hedgehog, you know, with like color pencils. And like I really enjoyed that, but then like by the end of it, I was like, why don't I just take like a photo of a hedgehog
and just use that?
Yeah, and that's why I struggle sort of to understand like realism artists, where it's like, oh, okay, you know, you're improving your skills, okay, cool, but like for what sort of purpose?
It's
like,
just, I guess it's just impressive, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it's a way of impression.
Yeah, but you could just take a photo, like unless like there's something very unique about it, where it's like you've like included elements in it where it's like, whoa, that's
something additional.
Yeah, you can't get that from a photo, you know what I mean? So I think that's like pretty cool, you know,
pretty the best for it.
Yeah,
well, that's fantastic.
So like I wish I stuck at it and just kind of expanded more of like creative things, like
hey, you got plenty of time left.
Yeah, I want to dive into that. Just once like things kind of
settle down a bit.
Yeah, and get a wee bit easier, you know, with the studio and so on.
These are all the things you get to explore when you actually have that free time.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I would appreciate that way more, you know. But then sometimes I'm like, like I wish I could do that now. But again, that's just the impatient.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's your impatient brain just talking to you there.
Like it'll be so good once I actually have it, you know.
Oh, just wait! Think how sweet it'll taste when you have that.
Yeah, but it's all about taking myself outside the comfort zone. Like I've built like a studio and like environment where I'm like really comfortable.
You're insanely comfortable, yeah.
And you know, the setup that I'm like really comfortable with. So I'm kind of stuck in my ways, as you would say. It's still working and it works, you know. I enjoy it. I still love the process, But I feel that like to grow further, I need to get myself outside of the comfort zone. And that's why I sort of plan on traveling with the tattooing eventually.
Yes.
You know, different studios.
Put yourself out there a bit.
Different countries, you know, take inspiration from different cultures and like buildings and people and
Hell yeah,
you know,
man.
like
Yeah.
even like networking with more sort of artists, because like that's another thing I kind of neglected, you know, or like not neglected but just didn't have the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I would just kind of jump to open my own studio, you know, and like kind of missing a step, you know. And yeah, I kind of paid the price in that sense, you know.
Look, you've already paid the price. You can come back and do all the fun stuff after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. Look, I think throughout this entire time here, we have discussed at length, quite indefinitely, the tattoo the tattoo
training. And the apprenticeships, what's, you know, like included, what's not, and
what you can expect, what isn't there, what is there, what you're looking for, what you're not looking for.
But at the same time, I don't want people to get us wrong. You know, I'm not saying that like apprenticeships aren't like the best way forward indefinitely. You know, it might be better for some people, you know, because at the end of the day, it depends on the individual.
All personal.
What they want from it. You know, I just don't like when artists said like, oh, you're not getting nowhere near as much from a tattoo training course than you are, you know, like in the apprenticeship.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, it's like, no, it just depends. It's a different approach.
It's a different flavour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's just to settle an argument, essentially. You know? I've seen like artists post about that. But at the same time, it depends who is teaching it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's a big difference between like a you know, like a primary school to Harvard University.
Yeah.
Not claiming that we're Harvard.
No, I was gonna say.
By all means, no way.
What you're saying, it's all dependent on the teacher themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. And you just gotta kind of do your research, find out who's teaching it. Are they the right person for me to learn from? Are they going to be a good mentor to me? You know, and then meet them in person, speak to them, get to know them a wee bit, and their studio, their environment, and go from there.
Well, one nice thing about this podcast is I believe if there's people with interest out there for this, they've had the opportunity to kind of listen to you and to learn a little bit more about you and your personality and your outlook to work. And I imagine most people will come to the same conclusion I have, that you would be a fantastic teacher to have for this kind of thing.
Well,
so who's to say if this is going to be the best thing ever made for tattoo studios? But certainly you've invested your time and your money and your blood, sweat and tears, and you've made something here that from an outsider's perspective, I think looks fantastic if someone's trying to get into the industry.
I appreciate that, you know, and like we're trying to display that as much as possible, you know, trying to get us kind of seen, and this is kind of part and parcel to what
all the beginnings of it,
we're doing, you know, but I hope people have the same sort of mindset whenever they, you know, hear this, I guess, you know, but we haven't even advertised it yet, you know, currently.
Still early days.
Today, you know, so like we have the web on the website, but we haven't really like publicly.
You haven't pushed it anywhere,
you know, we're doing the tattoo training, you know, because like we're still kind of just busy with other things, you know, so we're just gonna wait a wee while until like things, you know,
quiet down a wee bit.
We'll probably take like wee snippets from this, you know, try and repurpose that, you know, for social media and give a bit of content with that, you know. So I'm very excited for the journey, and I really hope it takes off, because like teaching is just another sort of passion of mine, you know.
Well, look, although I will not be taking part in the academy, I think it sounds fantastic, and I'm going to be very excited to watch it the entire way through. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be, I don't want to be that guy. I think this is going to be revolutionary for the industry. Said from an outside perspective who has no idea about the industry as a whole, but I think what you're doing here, Alexi, is you're trying to do something good. This to me seems like a very well priced course that you're going to get an insane amount of information and incredible standards for the for your entire industry. So
I really appreciate that. Honestly, you've no idea how much that means to me.
You're doing a great job. And I think that's us.
I appreciate that, Adam. And it's great to have you again.
God bless.
You know, for another episode. But I think this was like a big one for me. You know, I really wanted to talk about everything there. And same to yourself, the viewers. Again, thanks
so
for
much.
tuning in. It's always great to have you watching us. And if you like this episode, do like and share. If you know anyone just looking to get into the tattooing industry or even the piercing industry, give us a buzz. Like visit our website, apply, and maybe give us a wee message, and we'll pretty much go from there.
He's a very personable person. He'll be very good to get in contact to. I really do believe if you're trying to get into the industry, there's nowhere better than AMAVI's.
Oh, what a way to finish it. No, thanks for tuning in again, and Adam, thanks again for everything, man.
Thank you so much, Alexi.
See
Thanks
you
so much,
guys next
guys.
time.